Hey, good morning. Tracy Kanoski here, healthylifestylesmt.com. Today we're going to talk about your brain. And the reason, as a nutritionist, that we're going to talk about your brain is because the brain is affected by blood sugar, stress, which we all have. I can't completely control that as a nutritionist, but I can sure help with blood sugar. It's affected by anemias, so whether you have micro or macrocytic anemia, that's going to affect the amount of oxygen that gets to your brain, and so that's some of my territory. And research shows that gluten, gluten that's in everything, cross-reacts with the cerebellum, which is the two little lobes in the back of your brain, and can cause symptoms. And there's some new research coming by Dr. Datis Kharrazian that I guess will indicate that egg may also cross-react with the cerebellum. That's not published yet, but I just heard him lecture here a while ago. Okay, so let's just do a little refresher of your brain. It's up here in your head. You got the frontal lobe, parietal, occipital. As I said, the cerebellum is in the back of your head. It's actually two little lobes just above your neck. So right back here, probably where you tend to get those tension headaches, right? So symptoms of whether or not you're having trouble with your cerebellum, which is the main lobe of the brain we're going to talk about today, are that you are clumsy. Perhaps you need a handrail to go down the stairs. Perhaps you're walking with a wider gait in order to be more stable. The cerebellum is all about our balance and coordination. So if you can't stand on one leg, other classic symptoms of the cerebellum starting to degenerate are car sickness, seasickness, motion sickness kinds of things. So if you're clumsy, you're dropping things, you're bumping into walls, here are a few simple tests you can do. First of all, close your eyes. Well, you can leave them open to start with, and hopefully you can do this finger to nose, okay? All right, then close your eyes and do finger to nose. Okay, next exercise you can do to assess all of this is walk heel to toe with your eyes open. If that's really easy, now close your eyes and walk heel to toe and try to get those feet to line up as you're, not just, anyway, you'll see what I mean when you do it. And then another little easy exercise you can do is just stand on one leg, put your arms out like you're flying like a bird or Superman, and see how you do with your eyes open, and then close your eyes. You may be surprised at when you close your eyes how difficult this all becomes. Part of it is that the cerebellum talks to your inner ear and has to do with all that balance and coordination. But let's say you fail all of this. Another symptom is that you feel worse when you're drinking, and that's because alcohol further inhibits the cerebellum. And so people who are having trouble with their cerebellum already don't feel so great drinking because they get even more uncoordinated and unstable on their feet. Okay, people with trouble with the cerebellum also may have really slow speech, which you'll notice. Okay, one other symptom is that people with cerebellum degeneration also may have trouble with complex patterns, like looking at wallpaper stripes or ties or patterns in like flooring and tile that are busy. And they also don't tend to like action flicks because the scene changes are so rapid and it wears out the neurons in their brain. Okay, so I told you about the tests. The answers, at least from my perspective as a nutritionist who's been studying the brain, are to A, stabilize blood sugar. Too many people today have symptoms of either low blood sugar or insulin resistance, or blood sugars all over the place. Usually people have both. Some of the classic symptoms are that you get shaky, irritable, and you need to eat, and symptoms of insulin resistance are that you eat and now you crave sugar, or you just are sleepy after your meal. So there's more to it, but stabilizing blood sugar is huge. Stabilizing stress is huge. So deep breathing for all of us, maybe using your heart math application, doing yoga, which is also great for the cerebellum because it helps you with balance. So anyway, managing stress and then ruling out any of those anemias, whether it's microcytic or macrocytic, but making sure that the red blood cells are adequately oxygenated, and then it's important to be doing exercise so that blood gets up to the brain, because any brain is going to atrophy if it's not getting proper circulation, right? That makes sense? Okay. So let's say the shoe fits and you're listening to this video thinking, holy cats, that's me. I get car sick. I use handrails. I never even thought about it, but I always use the handrail. I just thought it was part of the aging process. Brain atrophy is not, it's common, but that doesn't mean it's normal, and it doesn't mean it's to be expected, okay? So things you can do are exactly what you had trouble with. If you have trouble with finger to nose, then you need to practice finger to nose. If you can't stand on one leg and fly like an eagle or fly like Superman, then you need to do that a few minutes every single day, multiple times through the day. It's better to do small amounts through the day, like every time you have a glass of water, or every time you go to the bathroom, just stop and fly like an eagle. I've been working on my own brain. I have two, of course, brain injuries are a part of this, but I have two pretty significant car wrecks in my past. One a rollover and one a severe whiplash. So at the ripe old age of 48, almost 49, I'm having some trouble with my brain and balance, and didn't really even know a lot like you guys. I was like, oh, it's just normal, and it wasn't until I was getting car sick all the time, just driving in town, that I thought, oh, there's something I have to do. So that's how I ended up in this. Partially, there's also the gut-brain axis that I study because of the vagus nerve and how that interacts with the gut and SIBO and all of that. But let's go back to what you're going to do in order to fix yourself. You're going to do what you can't do. You're going to do the things that are hard, meaning if it's hard to walk heel to toe, that's what you need to do. If it's hard to touch your nose, that's what you need to do. So as I was working on my own brain, and I would go water the cows or come in from watering the cows, I would hop on one foot, or first I just tried to walk with my eyes closed, heel to toe, and I was like a drunk sailor. That was fun for a while, but now I can even walk on a 2x6 with my eyes closed and do heel to toe, and you'll just see these slow, steady improvements. And within a couple of weeks, car sickness was completely gone. No more symptoms. It was a very easy fix. I continue to do things to work on my brain. I think we'll be doing more videos on the brain. I'm doing lumosity, and you got to make sure your blood sugar is stable, and we all could do a better job managing our stress, right? But those are some tips for you. I think it's important that we all be as proactive as we can about protecting our brain. So stay tuned. We'll talk about the brain more, I'm sure.